And CBS News political director, Face the Nation moderator, John Dickerson, joins me now here. And John, thank you as always. Donald Trump made no specific mention again of Russia last night. But here's what Josh Earnest said earlier that may have provoked that attack. And I quote, "It is just a fact. You have all done it on tape that the Republican nominee for president was encouraging Russia to hack his opponent because he believed that that would help his campaign," end quote. What do you make of this divide we're seeing here?
Well, the bigger divide and the more important one is that Donald Trump doesn't believe what the intelligence agencies are telling him at all.
And the president is now saying there will be retaliation for that which the president-elect is disavowing.
Right, and this is not a new finding, by the way. I mean, the new conversation is whether the Russians were specifically intending to elect Donald Trump. That's the new wrinkle. But we've known since early October that the intelligence agencies believe Russia was involved. And so since early October, it is still the case that Donald Trump doesn't believe that they were involved at all, or that his arguments could be anybody. So on the one hand, you have a president-elect who since October has said it could be anyone and has not been convinced by any new evidence. And you have the existing president retaliating, not just having a belief, but putting action in place to retaliate against the Russians. That's a huge divide. Donald Trump, I think, is using Josh Earnest in the way he does, which is to distract from that big national security divide.
Well, and we had seen efforts perhaps on the part of both the transition team and the administration to see a peaceful and smooth transition of power. And was there a certain inevitability here? Was this going to run aground at some point?
Well, I don't know. I think what you have here is a real issue. I mean, it's not just a question of symbolism and tone and the peaceful transfer of power and hurt feelings and all the other things that could have gotten in the way of a smooth transition. This is an actual policy choice. This is an actual matter of ongoing national security. And so you have a real, the Josh Earnest thing's a sideshow. You have the central thing, which is this is the real stuff of the presidency. This is the real stuff of the job. And we're getting a view in real time the way Donald Trump will operate on what is not which is a serious matter.
And so when we see Donald Trump tweet today at 6:09 a.m. Eastern Standard or Daylight about Donna Brazil's providing Hillary with questions prior to the debate, as he references a cyber attack, is that just misdirection?
Sure, that doesn't. I mean, the question at hand is the adult question at hand for the new president is Russia involved in trying to undermine U.S. elections? How involved are they still? What does retaliation look like? I mean, the United States retaliates. The United States is incredibly vulnerable. So the United States has a lot of weaponry to use in this, but they also have a huge glass house that can be, obviously, as we've seen from the election, rattled, to mix a metaphor. This is a real live question. And so to tweet about Donna Brazil is a few farthings down the lane from the real question.
Okay, so and the adult question demands an adult answer. Is that then what we're going to get from a Rex Tillerson confirmation hearing?
Well, that's a really good question. So we'll see where we are by then, but I think that's exactly right. The problem is, transition, as you know, these confirmation hearings become circuses on their own. Donald Trump didn't invent the circus; he perfected it. And the place we usually went for circus-like behavior was confirmation hearings. And you'd be looking for hopefully some adult behavior from the opposition to lay the stakes in front of the people for what's going on and what the real choices are to be made. And you would hope that it will be an adult conversation. You could imagine a lot of kind of foolishness, but as you point out, this will be a question for Tillerson because also there are Republicans who are worried about the posture of the new Secretary of State and the president in terms of Russia.
And I guess the greater proxy fight that might become, allowing the president-elect perhaps to wash his hands of this question, letting everybody else decide for him. I want to turn to the issue of Donald Trump's business holdings. Again, we were supposed to hear all about them yesterday. We did not. We got a tweet, though, that essentially said, "Hey, media, why are you making this out to be so complex when it's really not at all complex?" which stands in direct contradiction to what his own advisor said when they punted the press conference to January in the first place.
Right.
Am I just asking about more misdirection?
Well, no. I mean, we're all learning in real time how to cover what is going to be a new presidency, and all White Houses distract. Mm-hmm. All White Houses do things to keep the eye off the ball. This is not anything new, except in the way in which Donald Trump does it, and probably the rapidity with which he misdirects. So the central question here is, after a campaign in which Donald Trump made a lot of successful inroads by talking about the fuzziness between Hillary Clinton's the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton's job as Secretary of State, if that was important enough to make so much of a big deal about in the campaign, what is the analogous situation here, which is an enormous Trump corporation, holdings, and the connections between the Trump White House? And so far, basically, all we've gotten is opaque promises, and it's very complex. Obviously, they couldn't have the press conference. So the question is, what is actually going to happen in the end? And we really have no idea.
Good chat here on this one. Then we have a selection as Donald Trump's ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. It's not yet known in what city he will be working and perhaps living. But that question aside, what do we know of him, and what will people believe of this pick?
I don't know. You've stumped me. You've got it.
It only took the better part of a calendar year.
I haven't read in on the choice which was announced last night. What happens now is you get, and the reason is that whenever any of these picks are made, your inbox fills with people who are outraged, and it takes longer to sort through the outrage, I feel, with Donald Trump's picks than anybody else, because there's so much.
There's a layer to the outrage. It's legitimate outrage, and then I'm outraged.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, he's not the only one who does misdirection and does shiny objects, and so you stop.
So is that you are an expert by any metric? Then does that say something here that he, if nothing else, this might not be an optical pick? This might not be a pick about the cut of a guy's jib.
I don't know. I'm not, because I don't want to venture an opinion without knowing. Because
how responsible
it'll only get me in trouble, Josh.
That's an adult response. I remember those. John Dickerson. Thank you.
Sure. I'll have an answer next time.
All right. In our next episode. Meanwhile, John's next episode on Face the Nation is going to be, well, quite something, as he sits down, as you can see here, with former National Security Advisor Tom Donilon, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, and he'll be joined by author Ta-Nehisi Coates, who has another beautiful cover story about the Obama presidency, and it's a cover story of The Atlantic, and that's all here on CBSN this Sunday.